All right, this week, people in Whitehaven got a long overdue update on a major construction project along Elvis Presley Boulevard. That street's been a traffic nightmare for years, and officials say it's still several years from completion. The city of Memphis started the Elvis Presley Boulevard Improvement Project in 2019. The plan includes improved sidewalks, paving, landscaping, and underground utilities covering almost 3 miles. Well, during a community meeting Tuesday, residents had the chance to hear updates from State Senator Ramesh Akbari and share their own concerns about the project's timeline.
From what we've heard from the panel, it's going to take until 2031 for us to expect to be able to drive down Elvis Presley.
There's a business right next door that's already out of business, and there's a few more that are struggling, obviously, because of the condition of the road. And it's very hard to understand why the most visited house in the entire United States is Elvis Presley. The city would allow these conditions to happen in front of this historic location.
And it is a very visited house indeed, but it's technically the second most visited, second to the White House, of course. Pastor Norman, I'll have you open it up here. Should the construction project be taking this long?
No, it should not be. This was not planned well in the beginning. If you start something in 2019 and we're going a decade to get 3 miles completed, that's atrocious. It did not take into consideration the health and welfare of the people. Ambulances have to travel that space. There's a hospital on Elvis Presley. We have to think about so many of those things in the routing of traffic. But then we have to talk about businesses, and then we have to use tourism and the economy. We're missing opportunities right there at the Graceland Hotel. I've actually had events where I've attended and then had the opportunity to schedule events there, and I refused to go back because it was just hard trying to get people in there at 8 o'clock in the morning. Oh, it's a nightmare. And so we can plan better, and especially with the resources that we have, and think about all of the businesses and the people there and the residents. So this was not well planned from the start.
Scott, on social media, I saw people who were kind of upset that it seemed like the state and the city were pointing fingers at each other. So is it the city's fault for this, or is it the state funding or state's fault?
Well, there were some issues with the state funding, but the city should take charge. The city is trying to compete against other cities in the country, and it's a competitive business. And there's 3 areas that should be pristine. It's the road, Plow Boulevard coming out of the airport should be absolutely gorgeous. Beale Street should be spotless. And Elvis Presley Boulevard, the #1 visited house in Memphis and this area, should be, I mean, we bring in millions of people to come and see the home of the king. That whole area, it should be, spotless, functional, and we're really missing out on, economic tourism development by not having that. Absolutely. And the city should take charge. Somebody should step up from the city and say, by God, we got to get this done, and quick, fast, and in a hurry.
That's a good point. Now, Otis, does it have anything to do with the fact that this is in Whitehaven? I saw another point on social media that said if this was Poplar Avenue, it would have been done already. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, obviously, people in Whitehaven sometimes feel put upon. And so any sentiment along that line, I'm not going to discount it, primarily because you look at the demographics of Whitehaven. But Whitehaven people vote, and they vote in large numbers. And so when they speak, people need to listen here. But to Scott's point, there's a reason that Ramesh Akbari was doing this. This is more of a state responsibility in my mind than it is even the city. This is a state highway, so it's U.S. Highway 51. And so the state has the main responsibility here, and they've been shirking their duties with this. And it does point to maybe some accusations out of Whitehaven that state government talk a good game, but they don't really care about us here in Whitehaven. But people there vote, and they need to vote and let people know how they feel.
You didn't ask me Otis's question, but I want a part of it.
Okay, go ahead.
This is a problem all over the city when you start looking at neighborhoods. I'm on Broad Avenue. There was a project that was just completed or started there, and the timing that it takes to get the projects completed in certain neighborhoods run longer, and the quality is often less. If you go to the same type of islands and inlets that are on Poplar and Ridgeway, they were done in a very quick time frame because that's a major thoroughfare that gets you to the expressway. But there's also sprinklers in the flower beds, and there are trees and wrought iron on Summer Avenue. You have rubble and you have rubber stoppers on the side for the bike lanes. It's just not equitable all around the city. And Elvis Presley is one of those areas where we should have taken far more planning time and execution to get it done.
And the city, and the state needs to realize that the money that we're sending to Nashville is diminished because we're not bringing in the tourists that we could be bringing in if these places were like Disney World.
Do we think that this will be a priority for whoever becomes the 9th congressional district candidate or
Which is
winner?
in play.
I think it should be. People need to be talking about it and not talk about crime all the time, especially on the Republican side. That's all they talk about. Crime, 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 crime. Let's talk about some economic development. Let's talk about helping these businesses. Let's talk about beautification of these neighborhoods and stop talking as much about crime.
It could be Brent, it could be Justin, it could be Lamar.
You're right.
That's London Lamar.
Okay, on that note,
Play.
It could be Santa Claus.
when we come back, we are going to talk about crime. MPD has a new drone surveillance technology, and then we're also going to talk about a new initiative for other cities to apply for getting a task force. Stay with us.